In the second week of the counting of the Omer, we have just gone through the holiday of Passover. The Jews were taken out of Egypt with wonders and miracles on the night of the Seder, on the first day. And then the Jews were going through the desert and discovered that the Egyptians were chasing after them. In that first week, on the last days of Yom Tov, the last days of the holiday, is the crossing of the Red Sea, where the Jews went across and the Jews went to a new level of serving God, of going forward. How could this be that the Jews experienced themselves as having fears, as being afraid to go forward, as being not sure what to do? How could that be? Because even though the Jews had been taken out of Egypt, the habits and the fears and the mentality of Egypt was still inside them. So then you could ask the question, after we come out of the Seder, aren't we free? Weren't we made free on Passover? And the truth is that the Jewish people became eternally free after Passover. When God took the Jews out of Egypt, we became a nation eternally free. And we got the freedom to transcend and transcend and to transcend. And this is what we are doing in the time of Sefirat HaOmer. We are going from level to level to level until we are able to come as one people to Mount Sinai to receive the Torah. In this period of Sefirat HaOmer, this word Sefirah has to do with counting. We are counting each day, and each day counts. What are we actually counting? We're going through the story of going from our slavery to freedom, slavery which stopped us from doing what we needed to do, freedom from slavery, to freedom to live in the way that we are meant to live, actualizing our potential. And so integrating this freedom into our being is in the process of Sefirat HaOmer. This is what we are doing. And in this time, in each week, we work through a character trait and we polish it and refine each facet until it shines like a sapphire, that being one of the cognate words of Sefirah, sapphire, sapphire. And so we're shining up our qualities. What that really means is that we are transcending from quality to quality to quality, rectifying each of the aspects of our emotional being. One of the meanings of what it means to be in Egypt is that the mind experiences itself as separate from the heart. That the mind, which could think and understand, is unable to express properly through the heart, through the emotions, and ultimately bringing thought and what's higher than thought into thought, word, and deed in the world, into actualization. And so we are on the way to truly actualizing our potential, and this we do one step at a time through counting the Omer until we come to Shavuos, which is a quantum leap in which God gives the Torah and shows us how to live and how to integrate. But when God took us out of Egypt at Passover, after that, we had to integrate that new freedom by transcending and transcending and transcending each day for 7 weeks. The first week, which was actually during the week of Yom Tov, of the holiday of Passover, was the week of Chesed. In the week of Chesed, Chesed means loving kindness, expansiveness, feelings of love, desire for unity, desire to give. That is the quality of Chesed that we worked with in week 1. Suddenly, finding ourselves outside of the holiday. Passover has ended, and we discover that we still have some of those slave qualities in ourselves. And what that really means is that we still have an ego. Even though we've been taken out of Egypt, we still have an ego. And that ego needs to be refined and rectified. And the quality that we work on in the second week is the quality of Gevurah. Gevurah means might and strength. And actually, Chesed and Gevurah in Kabbalah are referring to the right hand, Chesed, which is expansive, and the left hand, which is Gevurah, which is more contractive and having the might to hold back. So that is might, or the ability to hold back. Now, Chesed and Gevurah, these two qualities, because they're like right and left, are meant to be a pair that complements each other. Something like being able to turn right as well as to turn left in the car. Being able to say yes and being able to say no. In this week, working on Gevurah, what are we trying to accomplish? How do we do this? There is a saying of the sages, small doche, yamin mekareves. The left pushes away and the right draws forward. So the left hand is used to push away, and with the right hand we draw someone close. This balance is one of the ways that we work with Gevurah. We need to have Gevurah in order to know what to push away so that we can know what to draw close to us. This is obviously a process that takes work, knowing what to say no to. Now, in order to attract what is good, we have to know how to reject what is not good. And this is a process. So this rejecting is very important. This ability to say no, to make limits, to have strength of character, to be able to know what to limit is essential. Obviously, we can understand that in terms of our own egos, that there are aspects of what we might like to do that we need to say no to, or that we need to limit. And this is part of having a rectified, mature character, of being able to say no as well as to say yes. So having this strength, having this ego strength to be able to say no is what we are working on in the second week in a number of different ways, which we'll be speaking about. Love motivates. Love motivates. We are attracted. We want to go forward. Might guides us to know where to stop, how to, in a certain way, we have to have the power and the strength to know what to stop. We spoke about 7 archetypal figures. Abraham, our first forefather, was the one who emulated God in the quality of loving kindness. His son Isaac emulated the quality of awe, of Gevurah. He knew how to have the might to pull his ego back so that all he would do would be to serve God in the way that God wanted. And so in a certain way, whereas Abraham was out there working on opening himself, giving to people, accepting people, welcoming people, feeding people, Isaac had less to do with people. Isaac lived in the land of Israel the whole time and didn't have to go out of the land. Isaac more worked on inner qualities, which, as we understand, parallels what we have to be doing. We need to know how to give, how to be how to give in relationship, and we also need to know how to interact with ourselves, how to go into a deeper place, how to know what is a no and what is a yes. The inner quality of might and of strength is actually awe. That is the motivational factor of this quality of might and strength. And Isaac looked up and had awe. And it was his awe that motivated him to have the strength to know what not to do, as well as what to do. These two qualities that are meant to work together and to integrate as a pair are seen in any situation. For example, when we love deeply, love God, love a person, the quality of Chesed inspires us to give. We want to unite with the person that we love. The quality of Gevurah is a quality that makes us have a certain awe, a certain respect for the one that we love, and we stand back and experience our smallness, and we're careful lest we do anything that would hurt the relationship with our beloved. And so we have these two working together, this going forward and this knowing how to hold back. This ability to have an awe for one that is greater keeps us able to utilize this strength in a way that we can serve God with this strength. So what we do is that we contemplate, we meditate what is higher, what is right, what is awesome, what is it that we're here to do. And with that contemplation comes a looking up, which gives us a humility in the face of this awe. And that's what gives us the ability to know where to say, no, this is not the right thing to do. And to be strong, to know what to hold back so that we can do what we're here to do. In this way, utilizing this quality of might, we are able to shape our lives and shape the world. By knowing how to make it a yes and how to make it a no, what happens is that in making boundaries, we're actually able to say a true yes by having said a true no. How do we work with this in the actual Sefirat HaOmer period? In the first week, we worked on integrating 7 days of Chesed, of loving kindness. As we said, Chesed, on the first day we have Chesed of Chesed, loving kindness of loving kindness. On the second day we have Gevurah of Chesed, the ability to use Gevurah of might, of the ability to hold back for the sake of loving kindness. That is the work of the first week. And then we also have Sefirat, which we will speak about, and all the other qualities. So let's talk for a moment about how we use Gevurah for Chesed. If, for example, in Chesed of Chesed, a person wants to do something good and giving, then using Chesed to strengthen Chesed, for the sake of Chesed, a person can make sure that when he's doing this good thing, that he's doing it kindly, that he's doing it properly, that he's doing it lovingly. What about in Gevorah Shabbat? Again, we're working on the quality of Chesed. This is the first week that we're working on Chesed. But what does it mean to use Gevurah for the sake of Chesed? What happens if somebody wants to do something good for another person? They do. That's what they want to do. But in the using Gevurah to form our loving kindness, we can say, but what's the right way to do this? When is the right time to say this? what is the right amount to give? Because we want to give in a way that is truly giving in the right way. And so we're able to hold ourselves back so that we give in the right way. That's Gevurah for the sake of Chesed. Now we are in the week of Gevurah, of working on strengthening and rectifying this quality of might. How do we do this? So, the first day of the week of Gevurah is Chesed of Gevurah. Chesed Shabbat Gevurah. Chesed that is loving kindness that is for the sake of might and strength and awe. Okay. So what happens if we recognize that we have to make limits or say no because there's something that God doesn't want us to do or is not right to do or is not appropriate to do, and so we're going to have to say no. Loving kindness for the sake of Gevurah, Chesed Shabbat Gevurah, instructs us to do this limitation in a kind way. If we need to say no to someone or to ourselves, if we say no to someone, we need to do this in a kind way. With the quality of Chesed Shabbat Gevurah, when we're using loving kindness for the sake of might, sometimes we're using it on ourselves. Sometimes we have to limit what we're doing, say no to something that is not right. And when we're doing this within ourselves in this way of growing, it needs to be done in a kind way. Because the Chesed in the Gevurah is making sure that we make that limitation, that we stop doing what we're doing that's negative, or not do it at all, but in a way that is kind, so that we know how to keep going forward, so that we are actually what they call not being too hard on ourselves, so that we're able to move forward. In the week of Gevurah, people sometimes discover, as they're working on this, weaknesses that they did see before or didn't. Each of us has what we need to work on in each of these qualities to shine up our character traits. So when a person finds that he is misusing Gevurah, overpowering other people, or not being strong enough, and going along with other people that are not positive, ideas that are not good, or weaknesses that are not good, desires that are not good, then that is something that needs to be rectified. Or if a person is afraid of anything or anyone except for God, that also needs to be rectified. If a person is unable to say no, then this is the week where we need to know how to say a proper no. On the second day of the week of Gevurah, we're working on Gevurah of Gevurah, might for the sake of might. If a person knows there is something they may not do, that is not right to do, that they need to make a limit on or say an absolute no, how can we use Gevurah for the sake of that Gevurah? Sometimes a person needs to hold himself back from not doing what he wants to do. In other words, he's decided, I'm not going to do this. It's not the right thing to do. I'm not going to do it. But at the same time, he needs to hold himself back to use Gevurah on himself not to do what he knows not to do. So here we see how there is an inter-inclusion of the qualities. And there will be 7 qualities as we go through 7 weeks until this becomes a hologram, until each of our qualities is rectified, inter-included, until we're able to drive to the right, to the left, forward, and utilize our characters for the service of God. And so in this, we are working to know what to accept, what not to accept, how to have proper awe of God, and to fear nothing else but God, how to have integrity of strength, and how to choose what is a no and what is a yes. And in this way, we go forward transforming our emotional character traits until we come to Mount Sinai, until we actualize our potential and live in a truly actualized way.